Welcome back. And if you're just joining us, this is still New Dawn on Signature Television. Like I told us, today we are discussing drug abuse. What are its impacts? What are the effects on the family, on healthcare, on the fabric, socioeconomic fabric of the nation? And with me in the studio are two powerhouses, if I may. One on the law enforcement side and the other on the health practice side. So we can create some sort of balance and bring some sort of understanding, major deep understanding on the subject matter. And to my left is Mr. Owunwa Ibezimako, DCN. Mr. Ibezimako is the Deputy Commander, Counseling and Rehabilitation, National Drug Law Enforcement Agency. And he is here to debunk some of the things that we need to know concerning this issue. And then to my extreme right is Dr. Ugumwa Nwachukwu Chinedu. Dr. Chinedu is a senior lecturer, Department of Community Medicine, University of Nigeria Teaching Hospital. He is also a consultant, community health physician, UNTH. Gentlemen, you're welcome to the program.
Thank you very much.
So,
Welcome.
drug abuse, huge issue. I'll start with you, NDLEA Oga, boss.
That's me.
You know, some time ago, we had this, not pandemic, but an epidemic of a particular kind of hard drug. You know, in local parlance, it's called mburumiri, but I think it is also called meth. You know, you know all the terminologies. Can you take us through some sort of an overview of drug abuse in Nigeria? You can pick any timeline you like. What has it been like, you know, over time, you know, with drug abuse trends in Nigeria?
Thank you very much. First of all, let me correct an impression. I'm not the boss, so that I don't have a premature retirement from the number one man, Brigadier General Marwa.
You know, boss na boss. Whether he's
then here, I have a boss, the state commander.
Okay.
Abel Sunu Wadai.
Okay.
That's the state commander. But be it as it may, I'm happy you have not painted, you know, an issue that can be swept under the carpet. You came out to hit the nail on the head. And without sounding too modest, I want to tell you that we're indeed, with a crisis. And if not tackled, it might consume us. Unfortunately, I don't want to create an alarming situation. Let me just give a little statistics. First of all, Mburumiri, that is what we know it at. It is called methamphetamine or crystal ice or blue ice, and it has become so common because of the high demand, because of the quick hit.
So what do you mean by quick hit?
Yes.
Quickly.
Okay. Cannabis. When they smoke cannabis, cannabis will go, well, the medical doctor will explain further, goes to the central nervous system to interpret before it starts acting. But crystal ice, once you take it, either by injection, it goes straight from the vein and you get an instant high. I hope I'm correct, doctor. Beautiful. That is what makes it too dangerous. Cannabis, you can take cannabis and you have a little control of yourself. But crystal ice, you are not in control of yourself. In fact, records and from the news have shown that when some of these young men take these things, they don't even recognize their mother, their sisters, their parents, and they kill. After killing them, they will not. In fact, it is a high level of intense madness. That is that bad. Then, our families are endangered. The society is endangered. And we are saying these youths are the leaders of tomorrow. Where can we have tomorrow if there are no credible and responsible youths to take, you know, the mantle that is being handed over to them? And peer pressure has made the thing take, taste, see. It's being circulated. It is that bad. So let us not play the ostrich. Bury and cover our heads, it does not exist. In almost all the villages, you have people that are affected by this. Then what will that transform into? Unproductive youths. Youths that will make the devil workshop their profession. You can't think straight. You start thinking of kidnapping, banditry, armed robbery, get rich quick. You want to be like the superstars that flaunt Cadillacs and all that. And it is a dangerous trend.
All right, sir. I'll get back to you on this thoughts. Please don't lose this line of thought. I'll have to get to you, Dr. Nwachukwu. He mentioned something and he said, with meth, you get a quick fix. You go straight and start doing what it's meant to do. Not with cannabis, that had to go to your CNS to work. CNS means central nervous system, aka your brain. Okay. So my question to you is it because meth is synthetic, cannabis is organic? Is that the reason why meth has this real quick effect on the people that take it? So
not
just
really.
Take us through that process.
Not really. It's just because of the nature of the substance in question. Having said that, it's not all about. You can still have synthetic cannabis that's opioid.
Okay.
They are in that family.
Okay.
But the truth is just like the bulumini has been a very deadly thing. And then, just like you said, once you put it, you are getting the quick action. As you deplete, it is true. So it's not a question of I will not take it. I will wait for the action to take. Because as they are getting their response and it's taking them hard. Having said this, remember the bullying problem is bigger than we are thinking and is deeper than we are saying. When you really know the person's, it affects the person's reasoning, it affects the person's mood, it affects the person's thinking, it renders the person useless. And then there's level of addiction. Just like you talked about pressure, peer pressure. In that, it fuels it. Also, there's a social media saga. They are showing things that encourage this action, and people tend to see it and buy into it. They will feel that this is the thing, this is the end thing, and this is the way to go, and they will not go. How they get initiated? They start giving them small, just test it. Just test it. From it has rendered a lot of undergraduates out of school. It had caused some people to commit murder. Far more others had committed suicide because of the injection of meth.
What is the half-life, if that's the right word, what's the half-life of this substance in the body? I mean, how long does the effect stay in the body before it wears out? And does it have direct relationship to the high level of addiction it actually has
that's exactly where I'm coming, because it's a substance of addiction. Take, for instance, it's different from substance abuse. substance abuse, as you say, people can abuse substance without getting addicted to some of the substance. Take, for instance, the substance abuse, taking some psychoactive substance or chemical in a hazardous amount that it tends to alter the person's brain function, like perception, like memory, like behavior, and other things. These substances include, but not restricted to, alcohol and other illicit drugs, just like we are mentioning Urumiri. But some had addictive level. If you take small, it will come at a stage that you won't be yourself until you have to go and refill. And then that refill, if you are refilling with 1 or 2 seed or tons, tomorrow you now see that that's not level. It's not getting you to the heights.
To the heights, yes.
Then you now step up. Just like that, you are going. And then each time you didn't take it, you will never be the same until you get it. So it is really, really a serious thing. But if we want to look more on some other substance that we abuse, not necessarily getting addicted to, I said, I can tell him, when we were chatting there, we'll talk about caffeine. It's a stimulant, the coffee. I told him that it's just like a normal thing. If you come to an Igbo man's house, he first of all will offer you Oji, cola. You go to a white man's house, what he offer you, tea or coffee.
Yeah.
But one surprising thing we don't tend to know, that this culture cut across every race and type. That coffee and Oji, cola contains caffeine.
Okay, cutting you off, sorry, Dr. Nwachukwu. I want to know, are there health benefits regarding this drugs intake? Because we're already looking at the disadvantages, the health effects of it. Are there health benefits? Most especially with Urumiri, like you said. Do you think there are health benefits, or are there health benefits?
There's health benefits, I must tell you. Just like I was trying to tell you, all these psychoactive substances can come in level of, we'll call them, there's one called stimulants, we call them depressants, we call them opioids, and we call them hallucinogens. So each has, like the opioid we are talking about, the opioids can give you a sense of, you get off, you will now relax. Some of them are used for taking out some people's pains. In serious cancer, end-stage cancer, you see it being used to take care of it. And then some diseases that present with nausea and vomiting, some of these drugs come handier to take care of them. So there are a lot of health benefits. But when you now take it in some dose that are not required, that's why they are banned. That's why they are asked. So they are used for even anesthetic drugs. If you want to give somebody, do operation on somebody, you have to anesthetize the person, put the person to sleep. Some of these drugs come handy in such. They have health benefits. That's why we call it illicit, when they are doing it illegally. But there are legal health benefits of them.
Okay, moving over to you, Dr. Mr. Ibezim. All right. Just like you said that there are health benefits, are there ways that we can control this drug intake so that we'll keep receiving the benefits and not the implications?
Yes, with all due respect to our Honorable Chairman Chief Executive, Brigadier General Buba Marwa, he has hit the ground running. And if we look at what we're seeing today, if it is quite clear, very visible even to the blind, that there's been some renovations, I don't want to say innovations, in the system. Why do I say so? Before now, we're emphasizing on arrests. We come out and reel out statistics and figures of those convicted. Well, he came in and looked at an angle neglected. If you don't cut off the supply, will there be demand? So some of us were moved from operations, and the counseling unit became fortified. Some of the officers were now trained by UNODC to become master trainers.
Trainer kind of
Beautiful
framework.
Yes. And it's beginning to yield results. Again, immediately he came in, he provided a drug control master plan. 5 years. From 2021 to 2025. That is still operational. And what has that yielded? Before now, we used to have state drug abuse control committees. But it has trickled down to local government drug abuse control committees, headed by the local government chairman, maybe chairperson, circling all the stakeholders, including the clergy, imam, traditional rulers, and opinion leaders, so that everybody to the highest level of the grassroots, and this is democracy, they have councillors representing almost all the wards. So you not only hear, but you go back to your place and practice. So we are not emphasizing on arrests and prosecution. In fact, we are preaching a gospel with a human face and a gospel that has legs. He has introduced something they call WADA, War Against Drug Abuse, and is all over the whole place. And we are taking people that people will listen to and make them drug ambassadors. But let me move away from what NDLE is doing, because I don't want to sound like the proverbial lizard that fell from yes, he looked around, nobody hail him, he not decide try. Let's take it a little bit further, and there's no way I'll make this discourse without asking government to do something. What has NDLE done again? We have created, the chairman has created not less than 30 drug rehabilitation stroke treatment centers all over the Federation. All over, including Enugu. Our facility here, despite being a government-owned agency, I'll tell you, is one of the best.
You mean in Enugu?
One of the best.
And what are the
indices? Treatment of drug-dependent persons. Rehabilitation and aftercare.
So hold on, there's something that just came to my mind. You mentioned that there are 30 of such centers across Nigeria.
NDLE has
and
established.
There are other strategies, including using influencers. You said people listen to.
Opinion leaders.
Opinion leaders. How has the ordinary person been made aware of all these provisions? I mean, for example, are there collaborations with, for instance, National Orientation Agency? Can an ordinary Nigerian open up his social media and and is bombarded with this campaign? I mean, how well has the awareness been robust enough to get people to know that these things are in place?
Thank you. I can tell you for free that it has gotten to every nook and cranny of every society and village in Nigeria. The chairman has said that every area commander must carry out at least 2 sensitization activity in a month. So if you break it down, 1 in every 2 weeks. And the war against drug abuse in almost all the local government schools, we go to sensitize them. Enugu, in fact, I don't want to say that is catching up like wildfire, because a couple of schools and agencies will just come to us. And just some days ago, EFCC called us to do a work, whistleblowing and awareness, sensitization. It's part of the crusade. And there is something the chairman have done that, if you permit me, I will tell you. He says it's a drug integrity test initiative. That for every teenager that is transiting from secondary school to tertiary institution, they should test him for drugs. That for everybody that is marrying,
This is currently being implemented.
we have tons of these test kits in my office as I speak with you.
But it's not been rolled out.
It's been rolled out. It's been rolled out. We are collaborating with Federal Road Safety Service. We want to see them. For most drivers they arrest, they just do a random test if he's on drugs. And many of these drivers are on drugs. Domestic abuse, before you marry, they will test you for drugs. That is where you see some men battering their wives because they're on drugs. For any government appointee, you want to vie for political position, you test for drugs. Just as NDLA, before we will test, you know, you declare your assets and everything. You get an integrity test that you're drug free. For the army, we are collaborating with them. That before they do any intake, you test. So the chairman wants to make it a culture that people should always test for drugs. And it's starting within. With the officers, we have started testing ourselves from that same kit.
Okay, sir, sorry to cut you short. Just before we move over to the doctor, I have a question for you.
Please.
Bringing you back to what you said about youths are more affected with this drug abuse. I want to clear, is it statistically correct that youths are the major culprits? Then secondly, I want to know, what are the causes of this drug abuse? Because we keep hearing drug abuse, drug abuse. What are the causes? Why do youths go into drug abuse? Just very short before we get to
Okay,
the
fine. Very short. The statistics we have by UNODC with the Bureau of Statistics, let me narrow it down. Enugu has 340 something thousand youths currently consciously abusing drugs. Does that tell you something? That amounts to about 14 point something percent. Enugu now. That is the current statistics. Is that bad? Causes. Unemployment. Many of our houses now, we have youths that have graduated 5, 6 years, no job. And they want to forget, according to them, forget their problems. they go into drugs. But for the ones that are conscious and hardworking, you look for something and do. After one minister in this country, former Minister of Health, one professor and a doctor, colleague of, said that doctors should go and learn tailoring. That even his one he's wearing, that
was sewn by a doctor.
Yeah, was sewn by a doctor. But I'm not advocating that. The only thing I'm saying is that we should look for things to do to engage us positively. If not,
Absolutely.
Okay, that's still WADA, War Against Drug Abuse.
yes.
Okay, Dr.
Moving over to
Nwachukwu,
Dr. Nwachukwu.
a very quick one. In your experience, assuming a mama da, apologies to any mama da out there, not particularly talking about you, a mama da comes home and sees her son behaving in a particular manner, and she investigates and finds out the son's friend probably introduced Mary to him, and he has started acting out. What would you advise Mamada to do first? And probably a second and a third, point.
Yeah.
So what are the approaches? What are they supposed to do first to ensure that there's no permanent damage done to Mama Ada's family?
Thank you for that, but I would rather choose to go by the popular Zebediah's balance that provision store is better than
Kiosk.
So it's always good that you aim at preventing the child from even going near those children by monitoring who your children are keeping company with. Very important. So once you notice that, you will try to start shouting, doing all sort of things that will make sure that that child is retrieved back. And it shouldn't be when the child has gone astray. You will now try to start some remedial things. Start looking, checking your children and knowing the friends that are keeping, knowing who that their friends are.
But doctor, if it happens,
I'm coming to
yes.
that. I always choose staff. That's where that's my area of concentration.
Preventive
and
medicine.
Yes. Then I tell you that you save more harm preventing that child from going into that than trying to cure the child. At the time, what you want me to do, what should be cured, Mother will cure it. No, you may not cure the child completely, but you prevent it from happening. That's the mainstay.
So prevention
So
is better.
that's the mainstay. So if it happens, peradventure it happens, we are looking at early diagnosis and prompt treatment. Once that happens, and you're able to pick this child early enough, there are a lot of health professionals that's ready to help you. It's not something it's not something that you now use your destiny, because the more you are using force, the more you are chasing that child away from you and to those people, because you've already lost the fight ab initio. So it is, you now call these health professionals that will come in to quiz a child and see how medically they can help him out, and then trace the source of it and can hand those source to the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency. From there, because he said, when you take out the supplier, the fire, if there is a fire, take out the wood, and then the fire goes out. You try as much as, because this has gone bad. And so many people in the society, there's this Igbo adage that's, so many children are taking the course of their parents because they saw their parents abuse drug or were doing something that's near to abusing, and they will not take course to surpass their fathers or their mothers. One alarming thing you have failed to see, and it will be a crime if we don't raise that alarm. More women, more girl child are going into substance abuse now than ever. And they try as much as possible to know what the friend your girl child is keeping. And a lot of them are out of, if they are in boarding schools, if they are in lodges, in universities, pay them visits, understand who they are, what they are doing, because you will cover your face in shame when you come really to know what these children has entered. So mine is try early, family first. You should be conscious of what your children are doing. Then before we now get down to the society, what the society will do, we'll try as much as possible, all these social media things, we should prop up things that counteract this medical information and say, that's one quick thing that the cigarette advertisers normally say. After doing the advertising, they will not do a quick one. Cigarette smoking is
dangerous to health.
That the cigarette smokers are liable to die young.
Okay, Dr. Wanchuku, just before we call it a break, the last question, you talked about prevention. What about, I'm looking at the rehabilitation facilities. Do we have sufficient rehabilitation facilities? And there access to these facilities? Very short before we call it a break.
If you say sufficient, there was never sufficient in this our present day Nigeria. But there are. In Enugu, there's a rehabilitation center near MNA. Neuropsychiatric hospital can give you a link to those other places. There's Federal Neuropsychiatric Center. There's a psychiatric department in UNCH. There's in ESUT. So this can, be a tertiary support to whatever the rehabilitation. I tell you, the prevention you are talking, you have primary prevention, you have secondary prevention, and you have tertiary prevention. And this tertiary prevention is what you are hammering, which is rehabilitation. So, but secondary is that early diagnosis and prompt treatment. But primary is trying to prevent it through lifestyle changes, through health promotion, and then you try as much as possible to talk them out and let it happen at all. And then the fourth one, which I continue to say, is the what we call primordial prevention, where we should make efforts to use law to prevent this from happening. If we do this and implement such prevention strategies, I think we will deal a whole lot in this drug war. It's consuming us if we don't take time, just like we won. Now in East, the statistics are not favorable. So we should do the right thing at the right time, and God being willing, we will win. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. We'll be drawing it here. Thank you very much, Mr. Ibezim, for having this conversation with us. And thank you, Dr. Wanchuku. We actually had a wonderful moment with you guys. I wish we could go on and on and on, but time is too short and time waits for no one.
And there you are, viewers. What we could decipher from the two gentlemen in the studio is preventive measures right on the side of law enforcement and on the side of medicine and healthcare. They are preaching a gospel of rehabilitation, counseling, watch out, for red flags in your children. You mother, father, sibling listening to us, watch out for these red flags. And let's see how we can together prevent these things from happening rather than running around to see how we can treat them. So we'll go on a short break. Don't forget, this is still New Dawn. And when we come back, the discussion continues. Stay with us.
Don't go nowhere.